Matt Lenihan for Boxing Social in association with William Hill and Empire Fight Store. Delighted to be joined by Ben Shalom. Ben, huge fight week, the return of Joshua Buatsi, the inaugural British women's title fight between Lauren Price and Kirsty Babington. Before we talk about other questions that I've asked people to send in, talk to me about this event. It's a good fight night in Birmingham.
Yeah, it's massive for us, the first of many. Midlands Boxing, we've wanted to come here from last year. We've signed a lot of fighters from the Midlands. We think the talent is here, not just the Olympians but outside of it, and it's shown and it's sold for our first time in Birmingham with a headliner that's not even from Birmingham. To sell 6,000 tickets out the gate is incredible. It shows the growth here. As you can see, Frazer Clarke and Ben headliner here in the next year or so, and headlining and selling out arenas, and that's what this place needs. It needs those big stars. Manchester, Liverpool, London, they have the big nights and they've got that consistency. We're going to bring consistency to the Midlands, and I know it's I can feel that they're ready for it, and I can see that as well in their interest.
Absolutely, it's definitely been it's like a hotbed now for boxing. The talent that's coming out, seeing the emergence, obviously Tyler Denny, amongst other people on this card as well. So look, Ben, it's a great card. So I sent a few things out last night saying, look, any questions for Ben, anything random. Obviously, I can't ask you them all for obvious reasons because you get some stupid ones coming through. So I chose the most sensible and the ones that'll be all right. First one. How are you finding the challenge of being the youngest promoter in the game, and what's been your sort of biggest hurdle so far?
Yeah, look, traditionally it's always been a sort of old man's job and an old man's sport, and it's been even in the US and in the UK, it's been in families for a long time, and it usually gets passed down. It's hard to break in. So biggest challenge is probably people using your age against you. It is difficult. You have to work extra hard. You have to know your shit even more than everyone else, because that's the only way you're going to get respect. It's a difficult industry, but it's one I love, and I'm just delighted to be in this position. It's a dream come true, to be honest. Especially I'm in my 20s. I'm living an absolute dream. I started when I was 23, and I had 4 years without really moving anywhere. And so when people say, "Oh, is it tough?" and the pressure now, believe me, it's a lot better than the early days, which are always going to be the most difficult. And but yeah, I love it, and I can see myself being around in boxing, hopefully, for a long time.
I saw an interview with Eddie, and Eddie Hearn said when he came into the game, he felt like everyone was out to get him. So I want to ask you, do you feel a bit like sometimes under pressure or under fire from other people? Do you sort of feel that a bit of pressure, or is it just sort of part of the game?
Look, we're definitely not. I think when you first come in, you don't naturally, other promoters, and the traditional thing has been, I'm going to put you out the game. It's very, very competitive. Hopefully over time, I genuinely believe it won't become that. I think the sport is so big, and you've seen that with 3 broadcasts in the sport, that if there is some sort of communication and collaboration, then I really think it's going to take the sport to a new level. I think that will happen with younger promoters coming in. I truly believe that. I think it's different for me in the sense that, as I say, I started at 23, I was in the small hall circuit. That's as hard as even up here, and I learned a lot of my lessons doing that, and for a long time. So I do feel that by the time I got to this position, I've been through a lot. I understood the sport on a deeper level and at the grassroots, and so yeah, of course it's competitive. Of course there's certain people that don't want us around, but our aim is over time to develop a good relationship with those people to help the sport, and that's where we think we'll be most successful.
If you could make one fight right now, I don't mean you Spencer Crawford's, everyone wants that fight, but that's needless to say. If you could make one fight right now that Boxer could put on within your stable, what would it be?
I think we'd like to put on Buatsi Yard and Riyad Porakoli in the next few months, and let's see what happens with CBS Akoli, because I think Richard will want to fight for the world title. But yeah, Buatsi Yard would be one that in the next few months I could see us putting on. There's so many big fights now domestically in the light heavyweight division and the cruiserweight division that we just want to get it on. And I think for me, Buatsi is someone that we've promised activity to, and we promised the big fights, and we'll see that in the next few months.
You sort of answered my next question after that, so we can move on from that. Someone asked, what are your thoughts on Thomas Hauser's article in The Guardian on Anthony Joshua, the bravest decision he could do is retire. What's your thoughts on that? For someone who's obviously a boxing fan, turned promoter and took it to this far and this level.
Yeah, I just think complete opposite. I think the bravest decision is to stay in. It's very easy for him to leave, very easy for him to escape the criticism, take the plaudits of becoming two-time world champion, take all the money that he's earned. He doesn't need to do this. I actually see that as very brave, very admirable, and something that we should encourage because he brings huge numbers to the sport. So yeah, I actually think the complete opposite.
Someone asked about Frazer Clarke. Obviously there's a lot of hoo-ha about British title this, British title that. Frazer seems to want it. Have you had chats with Frazer about what's happening next? Is he definitely going out before Fabio Wardley, and what's the state of play with that?
Look, I think we'll see. I think I saw him last week. He's going to come be here tomorrow, so we'll sit down, and I think in the next few days all will become clear. I think for us, as I say, Frazer Clarke, ideally we're talking about world level in a year's time, and it's good that he's got a lot of British opponents to build his name, to have the big nights, to get the experience, to then get to where we need him to be. I have said before, we're trying to make that fight before the purse bid. We just want it on the right terms for Frazer Clarke. He's had 6 fights and never done more than 8 rounds, and so that's all it is. And yeah, let's see what happens in the next few days.
Confident though that'll happen before the end of the year?
Oh yeah, definitely before the end of the year.
Brilliant. Liam Smith, he's come out and said he's a free agent after this fight. If he is to get past Chris Eubank Jr., which a lot of people expected us, but it's not a foregone conclusion. We know there's things going on with Chris, obviously, but if Liam does come through, would you be wanting to extend that working relationship with him? You've sort of been good for each other in terms of making that fight a huge night. I know he's obviously been linked now with Conor Benn. Would you be willing to try and either make that fight or continue the relationship with Liam, however it works out?
I think so. I think for us, you'll see there's certain fighters that we have long-term relationships to, and we want the best for the fighters. If there's other opportunities, we're actually okay with that. I think we're very comfortable in our position. Of course, Liam Smith will probably speak before the next fight. The aim when he signed was to get him the Eubank fight. We got him the Eubank fight. We've even got him a rematch, which isn't something that came from our request, came from Eubank's, but it's another massive payday and it's another massive night. I think, yeah, we'll see. I'll be sitting down with Liam Smith and Conor Benn. For me, let's wait till he's got a license and then discuss that fight.
I believe paperwork's now with you, Kat. It seems like things are moving on a little bit. Are you pleased to sort of see that we're maybe nearing a conclusion with all this?
Yeah, I think so. I think that's where it should have gone in the first place. If it had gone, then we wouldn't have had all this talk and this chat and this sort of. It's been a drag for the whole sport, and yeah, I think now no one needs to comment. I'm not there to say Conor Benn's done this or done that. You can do that. They're the professionals. Let's see what happens. Let's let them deal with it. I think we all want to see Conor Benn back in the ring. We just want to make sure that it goes through the right process, and I think it's there now.
Someone asked about Teofimo Lopez. He's made the news recently about comments maker on ESPN. I'm sure you've heard about it. Obviously, we know he's not particularly your fight, but it made waves what he said and the sort of racial undertones of it. Can I just get your opinion on it?
Yeah, it seems unfounded and ridiculous, but you see that sometimes. I don't think maybe his head's in the right place at the moment, and ahead of a big fight, that's a worry for him. It is a big fight, and it's one that he'll be looking to win, and yeah, it's worrying when you see things like that, because it's completely unfounded, and I'm sure it will be punished, but unfortunately things like this do seem to happen in boxing. It seems to be like a lawless, if any other sport, you know, there'd be serious problems, but things just seem to roll on and continue in this sort of wild west of a sport that we love. But yeah, it's not right what he said, and yeah, it's not right.
Right, last one from me, and this by no means is an approach for anyone. If you could have, say, 2 fighters, or you could have 2 fighters on your stable that aren't now, respectfully, who would they be?
Good question.
Anyone at all, doesn't matter who they sign with. This internet approaches is you saying, who would you? If you could have 2 fighters right now, anyone.
I think Ryan Garcia for me, because I know he's just lost to Gervonta Davis, but the fact that he's willing to take fights that young and jump in and what he does for the sport, I think he deserves a lot of credit. I really like Ryan, and I think yeah, if that's an example to anyone as to how to get the sport interest, and it showed the numbers. Like, you don't need titles, you don't need this, and that's what I was saying that's why I'd like to see Riatpur Akoli before. Obviously now it's CBS Akoli, and we'll see what happens there. That's why I like to see fights like that. That's why I want to see Buatsi Yard. I want to see them. It doesn't matter. Let's just see them. Let's not wait for the right time or this and that. And Ryan Garcia proved that. And I think him. And then
could be the guy who beat him, couldn't it? Really?
It could be the guy who beat him. Devin Haney, I think, is a future superstar. Obviously, he's got a tough fight coming up. But I think, those couple of guys. I think in the UK, if I'm honest, outside of the heavyweight division, I'm over the moon with I think the talent we've got is incredible, and I think we've got the future superstars of the British boxing, and our job is to deliver for them now, and I can't wait to do that.
Well, look, Ben, it's been a pleasure talking. Thanks for talking to Boxing Social. Something a little bit different for you. We'll catch up after the fight. It's going to be a cracker in Birmingham. Everyone should be tuning in. Sky Sports, Boxer, Joshua Buatsi, the return. Appreciate your time, buddy.
Cheers, mate. Thank you.